As someone who came from a Presbyterian background, a lot of the, as you would call them, Catholic calisthenics were a little bit uncomfortable for me. And all of the time that I had gone to Catholic Mass, just given the example I had with my husband's family and boyfriend at the time, was if you're not Catholic, you cannot do much of anything. I could stand to sing a hymn, stand for the procession and recessional, and stand and say the Our Father. And that was about the extent of my participation in Mass for many years. And it wasn't until about 2 years before I actually came into the church that we had left the Presbyterian faith and had an openness to going to Mass. It was about 2 years before. And I asked the priest there at the time, I'd never reached out to a priest and said, what can I do? Or what can I do to more fully participate in Mass as a non-Catholic? And I waited a couple of months for his response, but he gave me what I didn't expect. There was a whole lot more that I could do as a non-Catholic. I could kneel and pray. I could kneel during Holy Communion while everyone else was going up. I could receive a blessing if I so wished, during that time from the priest. So he explained some of that to me that I had never thought to ask. I just thought I knew that I wasn't allowed to do much. And I think it was that time, along with like the priest giving me some confirmation of what I was permitted to do, and wanting to just do right by the church and in respecting the Catholic Church and what she allows. I wanted to do my best to respect that. And so slowly I started with, okay, I kneeled on the kneelers. I had never done that in any Presbyterian in my whole life, to kneel, on Sundays, but before praying to God, that was foreign to me. And then, so it began with, I started to kneel and got a feel for that. And then I genuflected. I didn't honestly know at the time what I was exactly doing, because at that time I was genuflecting, but it was out of respect, and that I didn't understand I was genuflecting to Jesus present in the Holy Eucharist, and it took me some time to come to understand the Eucharist. So some of that, it was kind of working in tandem of doing my best while trying to seek out who the church was. I started to slowly become more comfortable. Okay, I was doing these outward physical things in my gestures, and I felt more. It helped me to feel more comfortable in Mass, because I didn't stand out, and I felt like for the longest time I felt like every time I genuflected, everyone was looking at me, and that I wasn't doing something right. Did I have my left knee forward? Am I genuflecting in the right form? How? So there's all these things that I thought was going on that I thought everyone was looking at me, and it was all just in my own head. And I had to overcome some of that, like being too self-conscious in my non-Catholic participation in Mass, of just like, okay, what I understand at this time, what's my best that I can give to God, and not worrying about what everyone else around me is thinking about me. I think I had gratitude for that time and all those months, and coming into the church is not a fast, quick decision. And I think God has gave me these steps, these baby steps along the way, even years before I even knew that God was working on me in that way, that He was giving me a little bit at a time of what I was ready for. And so then when I finally came in, it was like, okay, I'm finally home. Like I'm finally here, and I understand what I need to understand to live life fully as a Catholic now. So I think for somebody who's a non-Catholic, going to Mass week after week, or however often they go, you can enter into the prayers of the Mass, that those are very well laid out for us, or you can offer up, your own prayers, and praying for your spouse or your children who you're with, and offering that time for the betterment of your family. Okay, maybe you can't fully participate and receive Holy Communion and receive the sacraments and that life of grace, but you can there's other ways that you can give honor and glory to God through your own silent prayers, or just participating in some of the responses as you're comfortable.